That's right.
Okay. Okay, guys, let's finish up our first topic, and then I don't think I'm going to be giving shir tomorrow. I'm not sure exactly what the schedule will be, but it'll be put out on if there are any other shirim. But I'll give you a parsha thought or two at the end of shir today, as a Hashem. Chremas Kedoshim jam packed. Okay, so let's just get back to the last point that I wanted to make in the first topic here that we're talking about, the mitzvah of Yerusha. We spoke about two different ways, the mechanism, how it can work. Is it really a havara, something that's parallel to kinyanim, or is it something that, it's a stand-in to use the lashon of the Gemara, kam tachtav? Is that the idea? We spoke about that might impact different machlokas rishonim, maybe who the mitzvah is on, and when the mitzvah takes place. And that's what we did at the end of shir, that it could be that according to some rishonim, according to some evidence, the ha'avara, the bailus, or I should say the connection to the assets, the Yerush does not start at death, but it might even start earlier. The potential to get the assets earlier, that itself creates a connection, so much so that the Ran in Ksubis says that you can't use a lashon of siluk. You can't use a lashon of yadayim mesulekes, and I'm removing myself. That lashon doesn't work. You'd have to do a real kinyan, but you can't do a real kinyan. So before Yerusha kicks in, before the Morish dies, that's why the Gemara says there, Nachla balo b'makom acher dafka. The Gemara in Ksubis tells us on Daf Pei Gimel, only a Nachla of a husband and a wife, where there's only Erison. But if it's a real Yoresh that could get from the father, then he already has a connection to it before the father dies, and therefore he cannot be Masalik himself. So that's interesting, because as we spoke about at the end of Shir, obviously the father owns it. The son has a connection to it. I wouldn't say that's joint bailus, but the father owns it, but the Yoresh has a connection to it enough that there are some halachic ramifications. We do sometimes have joint bailus, which hopefully we'll talk about later in the Zman, because I was looking around, there seem to be at least 4 examples of joint bailus. This is not really joint bailus, right? Really, the Morish owns it, and the Yoresh has a connection to it. It's not real bailus. Where do you have joint bailus? What's the classic example of a joint bailus? You have joint bailus. What's the easiest example?
Shutfin.
Shutfin, partners. That's the classic example of joint bailus. Shutfin. Yevin Chatzi Ben Chorin. That's always the good example. Yet a servant was owned by 2 people, and one of the owners freed him. So now he owns half of himself, and the Adon owns half of himself. So Chatzi Yevin Chatzi Ben Chorin. That's number 2. Kinyan Siburi. What if you have something that's public property? The whole tzibur owns it. It's also an example of a joint ownership. Some public park. Who owns that? The tzibur owns it. A shul talus. Who owns the shul talus? The shul. Who's the shul? All of us. They're nafkaminas la'alacha. So that's a 3rd. And number 4, we have shutfin. Chatzi Yevin Chatzi Ben Chorin. Kinyan Siburi. Number 4, Tfusas Habayis. That's a phrase that you might not have had before. We're going to have it in this parak. Taf, Fei, Vav, Samach, Taf. Tfusas Habayis, which means the estate. When a person dies and he has 6 yarshim, before the property is split up, it's called Tfusas Habayis. It's in the estate. So what is the status at that time? Who owns it? They didn't split it up yet. So that's a real lumdish question. Does everybody own everything? Do all of them own what they're going to get in the future? Or does nobody own anything? And there's this entity called Tfusas Habayis, and nobody really owns it yet. So that's going to be an idea that we have to talk about. So what we're talking about here, for the Ran, it's not really joint ownership. Even though he says that there's a connection to the Yoresh before the Morish dies, but it is not a true example of joint ownership. Really, the father owns it. The Yoresh just has a connection to it. And therefore, it's different than other joint ownerships. But we said this might be totally on our Chakira also, because if you own it during the Morish's lifetime, that's probably a Havara of some type. Hard to say that he steps into the shoes of the Morish before the Morish dies. But the last point I wanted to mention, and some of you asked me about this also, are trying to put the two Rans together, because that seems to be a little difficult, a little tricky. On the one hand, both Rans fit into both the same side of our question. Meaning, what are the two Rans? Let's remember what they said. The Ran in Baba Basra and the Ran in Tubis. The Ran in Baba Basra, which said, quoted the Ravid, right? The Ran in Baba Basra, which held that the Yoresh could refuse the Chelek HaPashat, not just the Chelek Bishnayim, the Gemara says. Even the Chelek HaPashat he could refuse. What did that show? So it must be that it's not Kam Taftov. He didn't step into the shoes, because that would be automatic. It must be some type of transmission. If it's like a Kinyan, and you could refuse it, there's one Ran. He could refuse the Yerusha. And that shows that it is approach one. It is a Ha'avara. Then we have the Ran that we did yesterday, Iksubis, the Ran explained, the Gemara there, that only a husband could be Masalik himself from potential Yerusha because he doesn't have it yet. While the case of a Yoresh, a natural Yoresh from a Morish, so that Yoresh cannot excuse himself with because he's already connected to it. He's already connected to it, so then even when the Morish is alive, so therefore he can't be Masalik himself. So that also, we said, works as, oh, that's fine. Because if he gets it when he's alive, it must be that it's a Ha'avara and it's not a stepping into the shoes of Kam Tachtov. So fine, in that regard, it works okay together. If we think about what the Ran says in both places, it's a little tricky to put together. Why? Why is it a little tricky? The Ran in Baba Basra said he's allowed to refuse getting the Yerusha. He doesn't want to have to pay these loans. He can refuse getting the Yerusha. What is he saying, Subis? He cannot remove himself because he already has a connection to it. So that's kind of working in different directions. It's not a contradiction, but we still have to explain it. And one Ran says he could prevent himself from getting it. The other Ran says, well, he already has a connection to it even when the father's alive. He can't just remove himself. So just how do you put those two Rans together? Yeah, Yonatan.
Is it possible to say that one is talking about the extra portion and one's talking about he has maybe that when he says he has a connection to the whole Yerusha, to the basic Yerusha, but the extra portion has some sort of separate thing.
What do you mean extra portion? Extra portion? I mean, we're not talking about Bechor.
The double Bechor, I meant. The double for the Bechor.
So we're not talking about the extra, the Pishnayim. We're talking about the one. We're talking about one, the Cheleka Pashat. That's what we're talking about. Not the Cheleka. In both places, the Ran seems to be saying, again, it's not a contradiction, but it seems to be going in a little different direction, even though we put them both on the same side of the Chakira. So just to clarify, I don't think it's contradictory. Because what is the Ran saying in Ksubis? He's saying, I already have a connection to it, so I can't remove myself with a lashon that's not Kinyan. Right? I can't say, that's the context of Ksubis. The Ran of Baba Basra says, you're allowed to remove yourself before you get it. So it could be as follows. When the father's still alive, and this is the last point of the sugya, so let's just focus a little bit on this Ran, and then we start the new sugya. When the father's still alive, what is the Ran saying, Subis? I have a connection enough that I can't remove myself. But if you have something, you can't just say, I'm out of here. On the one hand, you can't sell it. You can't be mocking it because you don't really have it yet. The father is the one that's totally, owns it. So on the one hand, the Ran says, when the father's alive, you can't remove yourself because you have a little connection to it, but you can't be mocking it yet. What did the Ran say in Baba Basra? Right when the father dies, though, when it's still in the estate, then I could say, I could do a kinyan to remove myself. You still can't say Yadai Mesulekes Mimena. After the father dies, obviously you have more of a connection. Behind that, in that row, yeah. The Ron could be understood that once the father dies, so then he now has more of a bilus and he's able to remove himself. Not in just Yadai Mesulekes Mimena, like the Ksubis, that's still a problem. But to do a real kinyan, to do a kinyan chalipin, as we discussed at length, in order to remove and prevent himself from getting Yerusha. So again, it goes in different directions, but I think the Rons can be put together. And after all, in Lumdis, we said they both go in the same direction. Okay, any questions on that? Behind. Sorry, 1 second. Behind, take them out. 1 second. Okay. Are there any questions on that? No? So let's ready to move on to the next topic. You had some time.
Yeah, Rabbi,
Look, think about the Ron.
Rabbi, could you explain the one in Baba Basra one more time, please?
Again, the one in Baba Basra says that he is allowed to remove himself before he gets it. And that's what he said. Against the Rimigash. The Rimigash is automatic. You can't get out of it. It's covered the Mamela. The Ron says there, no. Even the Chelik HaPashut could be prevented, and he could say no. So he could do that, but he can't do that. Just put it with the other Ron. He can't do that with the Lashon of Siluk. Ron would agree you can't do that with the Lashon of Ainli Dinu Dvarim. I just want to remove myself. No, even the Ron would say you have to do a Kinyan Chalipin at that point to remove yourself because you have a connection to it. So I think the two Rons can be put together. Avram. Good question? Oh, okay. Good. So let's move on to our second topic here in the 8th parak of Basra. As I mentioned, here are Yerusha in general is what we just spoke about. Now we're going to get into one of the specific ones in the Mishnah, which is discussed on this first daf and a half in Nochlin, and that is Yerusha of a brother. Yerushas ha'ach. Each one of these, we should say, oh, this is a fascinating relationship. We're going to talk about brothers, because brothers is unique in the world of Yerusha, as we'll see. We'll talk about the uniqueness, I think that's towards the end of the sugya. But let's talk about the uniqueness through the eyes of the Rishonim. So let's see Tosfos. Tosfos, Diber Maschel Va'achin. Third Tosfos in the parak. Kuf Ches Amid Aleph. Kuf Ches Amid Aleph. Tosfos deals with why does everything have to be listed in the Mishnah? What does Tosfos say? Hikshri, somebody want to read? Let's try this. See if it works on Zoom. Anyone who read for us that who would like to volunteering from Zoom? Which country, which city, who wants to take it away?
Avram told me he wants to.
It's the earliest in the morning there. Volunteering your chavrusa. There it is. Volunteering your chavrusa. Calling for a friend. Okay. Okay, Avram, start us off.
Okay. Hikshari, the Re asked, Amai lokatani achayav Nochlin umanchilin shehin kesuvin nami b'parsha. Why does the Mishnah in the list of those who are Nochel and Manchil not also mention the father's brothers? Because that is one of the explicit relations that is mentioned in the Parsha, the son, the daughter, the brother.
They're also on the list. They're also on the list. Okay.
Right, and he answers, Yishum da'achayav v'chol she'erav nafki mehanach, the father's brothers in every relation to the father. We could learn out from these three cases. Ha'aves abanim v'abanim esa'av v'achin mina'av. The kevan shenoda she'abanim kodmin v'achar abanim ha'av v'achar v'achin. Since we know that from a person, when a person dies, it first goes to his son, and then to his father, and then to his brothers. You could learn out the uncles through these principles using mishmush.
So mishmush is the yesod that we have to talk about. What does mishmush mean?
Mishmush. Like extending putting the principles together to come to new conclusions.
Mishmush means going through, meaning like a father's brothers. Let's say there's no son and there's no father. There's only a father's brothers. So the father's brothers are going to get it, that Yerusha, through mishmush. Mishmush means it kind of snakes through the dead person already and ends up going to the source. So let's say a man dies, his father has already died before he died. His father's brothers are alive. They're the only relative. So the father's brothers are going to get it. Ki'ilu, it went through the father and to them. That's called mishmush. It rolls in. It rolls through. Gemara says elsewhere, Mimashmesh v'holeches at Yaakov Avinu. Sometimes it goes all the way through. That's what mishmush. It goes from A to B to C. If B is already dead, and it goes through. So that's what Tosfos says here. Father's brothers, you know that because you know the father gets it. You know the brothers get it. So you go through. Tosfos says through mishmush. Why? Im haya ha'av kayam haya yoresh. Right? If the father had been alive, again, Reuven and Yaakov, when Reuven dies. If Yaakov was alive when Reuven died without children, Yaakov would get it. Yoresh libno yachshav she'eno kayam haru yoresh bekever. That's the concept of mishmush. Person's yoresh bekever. That means ki'ilu. Even though he died already, he gets it and he passes it on. That's what it means mishmush. Lahanchil libno shehu achiv shel meis. What does Tosfos say? He said beferish already. This is going to be our issue. Tosfos says that when a father dies, if a father preceded a son, it goes from the son to the father, and through mishmush would go down to libino, to his other sons, which are achiv shel meis. Mishmush shaminan, the concept of mishmush we learn, mitathan b'samach, fine. That's the concept of mishmush. Now let's keep going to see if Tosfos keeps the same mentality as he has had up until now, as we will see. Let's continue. Im Tomar. Let me just clarify even before that, just to make the point. What did Tosfos say? I'm already giving away part of the secret. What did Tosfos just say explicitly? Brothers get it through mishmush of the father. Reuven and Shimon. Reuven dies. Who's the first one to get it? Reuven has kids. Reuven has no kids. Who does it go to? Reuven's father. Reuven's father is not alive. It goes to, who's next on the list? Son, daughter, father. Who's next on the list?
Eternal brothers.
Brothers. Reuven's brothers. So it goes Reuven's son, Reuven's father, Reuven's brothers. Tosfos says the brothers get it through mishmush of the father. That's what Tosfos said beferish. That's what Tosfos says beferish. Why am I making a big deal about that? We'll see. B'im Tomar. We continue. Let somebody else who else wants to volunteer their chavrusa or volunteer themselves. B'im Tomar. Who wants to go for us? Ephraim, you want to say it?
Fine. V'im Tomar, Tosfos asks, Imkin, if so, Achim min ha'av nami vo visni, Achim min ha'av nami vo visni. Brothers from the father, we also don't have to say in the Mishnah.
Right. If you say the concept of mishmush, if you know mishmush, so then if you know the father gets it, so then you know the father's brothers get it. So you don't have to say that separately. You know it goes through the father to the brothers.
Right.
And where do you know that from? That's Habanim. Because you know the father yarshins the sons. Al yedei mishmush nachala. Sha'av Yerushas beno. Okay.
Sha'av Yerushas beno v'hanchil v'shar banav hakayamin shehin achei hamis. Because the father inherits, he gives to his sons to give to the other brothers who are still alive, which are the brothers of the mace.
Right. So you have to kind of draw like a family tree here. Let's take again. Who's the family? Reuven has a son named Chanoch. Reuven's father is Yaakov. Got to go Shvatim, right? Family tree. So ask Tosfos, what do you have to say father's brothers for? If you already know brothers, Mishnah already said brothers. How did the brothers get it? How did Shimon get it? Through Yaakov from Reuven. So what do you have to say father's brothers for? How did the father's brothers get it? From Yaakov? Yitzchak to Esav, father's brothers. It's the same thing, going from son to father to son, just one generation up. So asks Tosfos, what do you need to say father's brothers for in the Mishnah? You already know Ruvain, Yaakov, Shimon. So you should know Yaakov, Yitzchak, Esav. And Esav is his father's brothers. They asked Tosfos, you don't need, it sounds like a very technical question. All of these, again, if you think about it and you dig deep, you get the conceptual points from this. They asked Tosfos, what do you need father's brothers for in the Mishnah? The Tosfos says,
the
Yeish Lomar.
What answers the Nakat Agav the Ba'i B'Misni Achim Min Ha'im Lo Nochlin V'Lo Manchivin. The Mishnah said this because it's going on to teach later that that brothers from the mother don't inherit or bequeath to each other.
It wants to be parallel because we're going to have to talk about brothers from the mother, meaning maternal brothers, share a mother and not a father. So because we have to say all the brothers from the mother are not included, so we want to say all the brothers from the father are included, meaning in hachinami. There is no need to write all of these cases in the Mishnah. A lot of them we could have figured out otherwise. It says it to be parallel. Continue. But now Tosfos says, why do I have to have the brothers from the mother case there? Yahoo.
Dehahu Itzrich L'Misni Afagav the Tana Ha'isha Inan Nochelas Asbina So Kadatach Amina Nihid Ino Yorish.
Even though it already says that a woman doesn't yarshin her child. So if the woman doesn't yarshin the child, so then for sure brothers from the mother aren't going to yarshin. Remember, because what is Tosfos assuming? Why does your brother get Yerusha? Through your parent, right? Through mishmush of the father. So says Tosfos, once the Mishnah says a mother doesn't get anything from a son, then obviously brothers that you share from that mother is not going to yarshin. We didn't even say that in the Mishnah. Once you say the mother doesn't get, then the mother's sons, who are brothers from the mother, aren't going to get either. So listen, this is the line of Tosfos. This is an underline line. Those of you who underline. Right. Okay, half of the windows have writings and half of the windows don't. Okay. Oh.
I might have thought granted that he doesn't inherit from brothers from the mother, mikoach imo, from the force of his mother, mikoach ach haba amina de yorish. I would have thought that he could inherit because of the power of his brother. The Torah doesn't specify whether it's brother from the father or from the mother. So
wow. What did Tosfos just say here? Tosfos says a havamina, but then Tosfos says this is what I would have thought. So I don't say it. Kamash Malan. So it's very hard to know what Tosfos' mentality is, but Tosfos seems to be saying something which we have to try to understand. I might have thought that even if the mother is not Yorish the son, brothers that you share from the mother would be Yorish. Why? Because even though they won't get through her, they'll get through themselves. What does that mean? They'll get as Achim. And if it comes to Achim, Achim might not make a difference, whether it's the Av or whether it's the Aim. What exactly is Tosfos driving at? Tosfos, up until now, in his whole mentality, has been assuming that brothers get through father. That's why brothers inherit. It goes to the son, and then it goes to the father, and then it goes to the father's sons, which are the person's brothers. All of a sudden, Tosfos throws something else in. I might have thought that even if the mother doesn't get, the mother's sons would get mitoras achim. What exactly is Tosfos driving at? Let's hold on to that for a moment. Is Tosfos changing something that he thought? Is he not? So we'll think about it. Number one, Tosfos on Amud Days that I gave you asked the same exact question. Basically, what's the difference? What's the difference between the Tosfos just asked here, and then Tosfos on the end of Tosfos, the second Yachol, all the way at the end. All the way, everybody turn to Kuf Chesam Beis, turn over the page. fourth to last line in Tosfos. All the way at the end of this Tosfos Yachol. Let's read the question and then tell me what's the difference between the question that Tosfos asks here and the question that we just saw in Tosfos. Tosfos and Amar Aleph asks, what do you need Achim in the Mishnah? So V'im Tomar, Achim, the Kosav Rachman Alamali. That's Tosfos. You see where I am? Fourth to last line. In the second Yachol. Why does the Torah have to say Achim? Even the Nachla Mimashmeshes ad Ruvain. Since the Nachla, there's the Lashon, Mimashmeshes. The Nachla goes all the way. It goes to Ruvain. Yarash Ha'av Bekever. Lahan Chilabanav Anotzarim. Right? Asks the Tosfos, what does the Torah have to say brothers for? Since we know it goes up and it goes down, so right when you know that the father yarshins, they'll go to his kids. Those are Yotze Yerecha. What's the relationship between this question and this Tosfos, the question we saw earlier on Amud Aleph? Same kind of thing, but what just a little difference, just to note. The difference on Amud Aleph, Tosfos is asking, why does the Mishnah have to say all these cases? Here, Tosfos is asking, why does the Torah have to say this case? Right, because of Rahman al-Amali. So it's a different category of same kind of question, but here Tosfos is interested in the psukim themselves, while on Amud Aleph, Tosfos was talking about the Mishnah. Yeah, what does Tosfos say? Why does the Torah have to say that a brother yarshins? Once you know that a father yarshins, and you know that sons yarshin their father, so you know that the brothers are going to get it. That's Tosfos' kasha. Everybody got the question? Ellie, got the question? Once you say, with me, Naftali, and once you say that the father yarshins the son, and sons yarshin the father, then Torah says Yaakov gets from Reuben, Torah says Reuben gets from Yaakov. But again, Yaakov's other sons are also going to get from him. You don't have to say that the brothers are going to get. Ask Tosfos. You know it already. You know brothers. And what does Tosfos answer? Enochinami. He doesn't really give a fundamental answer. Tosfos says you're right. He didn't have to say it. It says it for some other reason, which we don't have to get into now. Sometimes it's important, as we've spoken often, not only important what Tosfos says, but what Tosfos does not say. Tosfos doesn't reject his question here. Tosfos says, why does it have to say Achim? Tosfos' answer is that it doesn't really have to say Achim, right? Why? If he wouldn't say Achim, then we wouldn't have another limud. We wouldn't know a different halacha. I would have thought the father goes in front of the daughter. Something Gemara later on, which we, B'ez Hashem, will get to. Again, Tosfos is assuming in his question. Tosfos is assuming this question on Amud Aleph. The fact that Tosfos asks all these questions is, brothers get it through the parents, and therefore, what do you need to write brothers for? What do you need to write brothers of father for? It's all mishmush anyway. The question is, did Tosfos on Amud Aleph change something? We'll have to see. I gave you also to look at another explicit source. I gave you the Sifri. Okay, I didn't bring my Sifri downstairs. Somebody have the Sifri on them? Somebody read like the Lashon of the, oh, Ellie's putting it there? Okay, in the card. Okay, I can look at it in the picture also. Somebody read the kid. So what did the Sifri say in your own words? What was the important point of the Sifri? What's the Sifri, by the way? Remember, can't tell you that knowing what it is?
Yeah, but I have it on Safari.
Okay, it's okay, it's fine.
Okay.
I'm not going on Safari until I go into a real Safari. I don't know, I've never been on one, but never been in Safari either. I use Hebrew books sometimes, but and I have the Bar Ilan, Baruch Hashem. But anyway, the Sifri is the Medrash Halacha on Bamidbar and Dvarim. Remember, it's Medrash Agada, the Medrash Rabbis are all Medrash Agada, and others, the Alkut Shimoni. But the Medrash is a Medrash Halacha. You learn Halacha from. What's the Medrash Halacha on Bereshis? Great question. There is none. Right. What's the Medrash Halacha on Shmos? The Mechilta. Yikra, Torah's Kohanim. Midbar and Dvarim is the Sifri. Mechilta is also called, the Torah's Kohanim is also called the Sifra. The Sifra on Vayikra. and Sifri on Bamidbar and Advarim. Those are all Medrash Halacha that Rashi quotes all the time. But there in the Sifri, it says Beferish also that Achim get it, Achim Yarshin Min Ha'av. But if you look at the language, look at the language of the Sifri. The Sifri says, Uminayin Shaha'av Yoresh, Amar Kal V'chomer, Uma Achim Min Ha'av, She'enam Ba'im Ela Mikoach Av. Wow. If brothers, eternal brothers, that get Yerusha Mikoach Ha'av, Arehem Yershim Esa'av, She'en Achim Ba'im Ela Mikoach Ha'av, Dinusha Yoresh. So the Sifri says Beferish. Brothers get Yerusha through the father from their dead brother. That is the Sifri, and that is the mentality of Tosfos. All this has
Rabbi,
a big problem.
Rabbi, I didn't think he had the same mentality as Tosfos at all.
Sifri?
I think we thought he was saying more that it's about coming through the Achim, and that fact that the Achim get from each other, therefore we learn out the father. It sounds more mistaber from his Lashon.
Where do you see in the Sifri that it comes from a brother?
It says,
Achim and Av, she'enim ba'im ela mikoach ha'av.
Arehem Yorshim is Av. She'ein Achim ba'im ela mikoach Av.
Ela mikoach ha'av. Brothers only come from the Av. Ein Achim ela mikoach ha'av. They only come from the Av. The dinu she'yorish, and it's appropriate.
Isn't that referring to the father's brothers, not the Mesa's brothers?
Achim min ha'av, not achei ha'av. Achim min ha'av are brothers, paternal brothers. Achei ha'av are father's brothers. I think it's achim min ha'av. Achim min ha'av. But there's a problem with this. The problem is the first Gemara in this parak. Hopefully some of you saw it. But the first Gemara in this parak has certain havaminas that are very tricky. Let's read the Gemara. All right, what does the Gemara say on Kuf Chesam Beis? Kuf Chesam Beis. The Gemara is going through, right? The Gemara notes that father is not beferish in the Torah. Father is not beferish in the text. We didn't really answer that yet. We'll talk about that soon, as Hashem. That's the Ramban that I gave you to see. You know from the father darshans from a drasha. So the Gemara says, in my drasha, third line, Tanya, She'ero ze'av, malami sha'av, kodem la'achin. Everybody with me? Mikey, you with me? I need you with me. You with me? Everybody good? You did you're sideways, but I hope you're with me. Right? Okay,
Rabbi, I'm with
Shlomo,
you.
everybody good? Okay, awesome. Yehud is there. Everybody's here. Zaka, you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, great.
Rabbi,
Good.
Rabbi.
Yeah.
Then what was the Uminayin Sha'av Yoresh Amras, Kal V'chomer? Why does it start off like that?
Uminayin, 1 second. Minayin shaha'av yoresh. How do you know a father yarshins? So Kal V'chomer is if his son's yarshin and they only go through him, then surely he yarshins. Right? The father's sons only get Yerusha. Father's sons, which are the brothers, father's sons only get Yerusha through the father. So obviously the father, which is the step before the brothers get, surely are going to get Yerusha. Right? That's the Kal V'chomer from brothers to father. Because the brothers only get through the father. Then you have this problem. You have our Gemara. What does our Gemara say? So you learn She'ero. The word She'ero refers to the father. You might think that the father even goes before the son. So now the Gemara says, we're going to talk about this a lot in the next sugya, but why do you include the ben and exclude the brother? What's the Gemara asking here? Why do you say that the father goes before the brother and not before the son? Maybe you should say the opposite. And the Gemara tries to prove why that doesn't work. What's the opposite? The Gemara is asking, maybe the father should go before what? How do you know the father goes before the brothers, not before the son? Maybe the father should go before the son and not before the brothers. That's the Gemara's question. Maybe brothers should come first. And the Gemara answers, no, it can't be. Question. How in the world is there a Havamina that brothers might come before the father if the brothers only get Yerusha because it came through the father? That's a very serious question. If all the brothers Yerusha, again, Reuben and Shimon, Reuven dies, Shimon Yarshins. Why? When does Shimon Yarshin? If Yaakov is dead already. If Shimon only gets Yerusha through his father from his dead brother, then how in the world could there be a Havamina in this Gemara? The Gemara is bothered. Maybe the brother should come before the father. How is that possible? And if we think, one second, and if we think, it's just one line of a Havamina, the same thing comes up in the next Amud. Kuf Tesam and Aleph. Kuf Tesam and Aleph, the Gemara asks the same thing. Kuf Tesam and Aleph for a moment, on the fourth line. Ema She'ero Zeha'av. Maybe, this is Aisha Darshan. She'er is the father, Malamei Sha'av Kodem Labas. The father comes before the daughter. Yachol Yakdim Leben. You might think the father should come before the ben. Kamalomar, Akarav Karav Kodim. Actually, you know what? Let's leave that for now. It's the next line. I'm sorry. The Ema, I read the wrong one. But I like the sixth line. The Ema She'ero Zeha'av, Malamei Sha'av Kodem La'achei Ha'av. The father goes before his brothers. Are you with me in this Havamina? There's a special drasha. The father goes before his brothers. Yachol Yakdim La'achin. You might think that the father also goes before the brothers. Talmud Lomar, Akarov Kodem. Maybe the brothers go before the father. Brothers, father's brothers. That's the Havamina here. Maybe this is how you should darshan the psukim. Father, the son and daughter go first. Fine. Then you have the father. I'm sorry. You have the brothers and the father and the father's brothers. Again, a Havamina that brothers should go before the father. But one second. If brothers only get Yerusha through the father, what we call the mishmush, how could you have such a Havamina? You only get it. It's like A goes to B goes to C. C only gets it through B. So how could you think at all that C is going to get it before B does? And the Gemara answers, nah. The Gemara answers you can't have that Havamina because Achei Ha'av, you don't need a pasuk to tell me that the father's brothers go after the father. They obviously go after the father. Right? Achei Ha'av mikoach man ka'asu mikoach av ka'asu. Av ka'yarsi Achei Ha'av. Chulu. So twice in this first sugya, Gemara has a Havamina that brothers in the order, in the Seder Nochlin would come before the father. How is that possible? According to what Tosfos said, according to what the Sifri said, that the brothers get it, mikoach ha'av, how is it that the brothers, the Gemara can have Havamina that the brothers go first? Okay, Jonathan.
Is it possible we can say something just that the Gemara hadn't established mishmush yet, or that's not a viable answer? And at this point in the Gemara, this is how they figure out mishmush, and they figure out what the Seder people are.
That's a good point. But again, the Torah already has these relationships. So these are daraisa concepts. So we're trying to figure out exactly how they work. You're right. This Havamina must be thinking something else. You're right.
Yeah, we don't know the order though. We know
the order. You're right.
We say karov, like that's we don't. It's not really an order.
That's true. We're figuring out the exact order. We know certain people in the Torah. We don't know the exact order, but you would think that certain order is logical. And if the svara of why brothers would get is through the father, then how could the Gemara even have a Havamina that the brothers would go first? Unless there's a different idea that's being thought of here. Exactly. Okay, Natana. Yeah.
What was Rabbi's question on the Havamina and Kuf Chesam Beis?
The Gemara there is the same idea. The Gemara says, how do you know that just read the Gemara. The Gemara says, how do you know the father comes before the brothers and not before the son? Ask the Gemara, maybe you should flip it. maybe the father should come before the son, not before the brothers. Maybe brothers should be first. That's the Gemara's question. Again, what's that havamina? The brothers should come before the father. Right? What's that question? I know to include the son, that the son goes before the father, and the brother doesn't go before the father. Maybe the brother should go before the father, and the son shouldn't go before the father. So what's that havamina about? Question.
Rabbi,
Let's move on. Yeah, Yosef.
how do you know that Yachol on Kufches is coming to say that you should swap them as opposed to just exclude the Ben also? Meaning, maybe we're just saying that we learn from the pasuk that the father comes before the brothers. You might think the father. We learn from this pasuk the father also comes before the son. Kamash Malan, he doesn't come before the son. Meaning, how do you know from here that we're trying?
I think it's pretty clear that we're trying to include something and exclude something. Rabos and lahotzi, the language of the Gemara. We're trying to be marbeh, why you include the ben to go before the father, and to exclude the father when it says she'ero. Av kodem, he goes before somebody. So who does he go before? So it says he goes before the brothers and not before the son. Maybe it should be flipped. That's the pashut shot of the question. Yeah, Yaakov.
Could it be possible to piggyback from what Gench said, that the Gemara has a suffix whether or not whether we aren't yet sure how Mishmash works, because possibly the brother would go first. What's the reason why Yibum works? Why the brother gets to, I don't know, inherit, whatever the word is, to inherit his brother's wife? Is that through Mishmash?
We're gonna Sugya number 3 is going to be about Yibum and how that works in terms of his going into his brother's shoes. But we'll talk about that. Let's try to get one more question in. Again, building up the sugya, let's try to get the question in, and then Hashem Sunday we'll continue with the answers. Gemara Kuf Nun Tes Amud Aleph. Gemara Kuf Nun Tes Amud Aleph. This is in Mishames. Remember, the 8th and the 9th parak are all about Yerusha. We're focusing on one, but there's a lot of overlap. So let's see the Gemara. Itmar. See this Gemara yet? Top of Kuf Nun Tes Amud Aleph. Who's got it? Eli, you saw this Gemara yet?
I started looking at it, but
Anybody get to look at it yet? Anybody get to see this Gemara yet? Should I? You want to wait and do some parsha now? And
We saw it.
you want to say to anybody else?
Avram, you want to read?
Yaakov, you want to say it? What do you say? You're volunteering. Okay, let's at least lay the groundwork. Let's lay the groundwork for this Gemara, and then you'll see the machlokas rishonim on the Gemara. I'll leave you to do the Ravid and the Sefer HaTrumos after. Let's just see the Gemara. Itmar ben shemachar b'nechsei aviv b'chaye aviv. What's the case? The son sold property that he didn't own yet. Ruvain sold some of Yaakov's property. He didn't own it yet. Obviously, the guy probably didn't pay full price. Ruvain sold property in the life of his father. And then Ruvain died. And then, right, so Ruvain sold it, Ruvain dies, and then Yaakov died. So now what? What's the issue? Think about it again. Just keep it clear in your head. You have Yaakov, Ruvain. Who's Ruvain's son? Chanoch. So what happens? Ruvain sells property while Yaakov's still alive. So he wasn't really allowed to do that. I mean, it didn't work. So Ruvain sells the property, Ruvain dies, and then Yaakov dies. Chanoch comes along, and he goes to the people who bought the property from Ruvain and said, no, my father couldn't have sold that property. Well, he could have, but I want the property back. And they say, what are you talking about? Your father sold it to us. Says the Gemara, Beno Mosiman Alakuchos. Chanoch could say, sorry, my property. What do you mean? Your father sold it. Zui Shekasha B'Dinim Amanis. This is a challenging halacha in Dinim Amanis. Why? Your father sold it. What do you think you're doing, taking it away from us? Says the Gemara, Umay Kushya, what's the problem? Dilma Matzi Amar. You know what Chanoch is saying? I'm not here in my father's shoes. My father wasn't allowed to sell it. I'm here in my grandfather's shoes. He never sold it. My father, says Chanoch, my father died, Reuven died. Yaakov has all the property. Now Yaakov died. I'm yarshining it from Yaakov. I'm not getting it from Reuven who sold it to you. I'm getting it straight from my Zayda. My Zayda had it. He never sold anything. And therefore, I'm taking the property back. Zayda, and that's the pasuk in Tehillim, Tachas Abosecha Yu Banecha. Pasuk that connects the two generations from a grandfather to a grandson. So in this case, what do you see? A grandson, Chanoch, could say, no, I'm not yarshining from my father, I'm yarshining from my grandfather. And therefore, my father who sold it had no rights to sell it. And therefore, he can be motzi mad ala kuchos. Motzi mad ala kuchos. Is this is the question that we're going to deal with, that the Rishonim deal with. What happens if Reuven hadn't just sold his father's property, Yaakov, but had sold his father's brother's property? What if he sold Esav's property? If Yaakov, same case, Yaakov sold Esav's property. But Chanoch, and the same thing happened. Yaakov died, and then Reuven died, then Yaakov died. Did the grandson say, I'm here in place of my great uncle? Does that work? Or not? The Dafka grandfather. That's a question. Think about that question. The Sefer HaTrumos that I gave you has that suffix. Sounds like what? Write down the family tree on a piece of paper. It helps. Write down the family tree as you go through this. It helps thinking about exactly the relationships that we're talking about. And this suffix of the Sefer HaTrumos would help us understanding this idea. The secret of a lot of this is the Ramban. That's the beginning of the answer. The Ramban in Bamidbar, in Parshas Pinchas, who has 3 reasons why father is not mentioned explicitly in the Torah. So we'll get to that. We'll try to figure out the sheet of the Rambam, and we'll go from there. Okay, so this lays a little bit of the groundwork for the next sugya of Yerushas Ach. Yerushas Ach. Review the Tosvasim, go through the Gemara, and realize how surprising the Shakla V'Taryas are, the Havaminas, Chesam Beis Kuftesim and Aleph, and we'll go from there. Okay, Parsha. We're good, Parsha. Achremos Kedoshim. You'll get more jam-packed than this. Achremos Kedoshim. So many mitzvos. So many mitzvos. We've discussed a lot of them in the past. The Sefer Chinuch Nekama, remember that one? Nekama. That's an important one. If you never saw the Sefer Chinuch Nekama, required reading. Right? In life or objects and subjects. You remember that one? Anybody remember that one? Should I say that one? Yaakov, you got it? You're shaking your head?
Yeah, I mean, I do recall it. It's a classic. I can always go over just like the Ramban and Bo.
Okay, let me just give 1 or 2 new ones. Again, this is, feel free to listen to any of these the Parsha Shirim online. They're there for the past bunch of years, including this year's. There is the pasuk says, again, this relates to let's say this one. There's a medrash on the Parsha, Parsha's Kedoshim. There's a medrash that says, David HaMelech, the pasuk says, was called Tov Ro'i. Tov Ro'i. And the medrash says, what does that mean, Tov Ro'i? He's good of seeing. Tov Ro'i b'halacha. Kol Ro'ehu nizkar talmudo. He was good at when people saw him, because whenever people saw him, they remembered the halacha. Remember the halacha. That's the Kutzker. What does that mean? But I would review something and I wouldn't remember it. And then I would see David HaMelech. I'm like, oh, I remember it now. What is like magic? What does that mean? That nizkar called Tov Ro'i, called Ro'eo nizkar talmudo. The guy remembered or not remember it? So it says the Kutzker. The medrash is teaching us about life, what we're supposed to do. Very often in life, we learn something, we learn a halacha, we learn machshava, It's hard for us to know how to put it into action. It's hard for us to know how to apply it. How to take that Torah from this book and put it into our lives. That was David HaMelech. Whenever people saw David HaMelech, they would recognize that what they learned, wow, he's a walking Sefer Torah. That's exactly how you're supposed to live. That's what it means. Not that they actually forgot, but they would be reminded of, and they would realize what it means to how to put that into place, how to put that into our lives. And that's what we have to do in life. We have to be walking Sifrei Torah. People have to look at us and say, wow, that's what the halacha means. That's what the this machshava means. That's what the Musar Sefer means. To be this type of person. Tov Ro'i. We have to be Tov Ro'i also. We have to be Tov Ro'i. Number one. Another point to make is made in Hagyona Shel Torah. We'll finish with this. Rabbi Tzion Führer. Hagyona Shel Torah. In source, and I mean, if you have it in this year's source sheet, again, it's online on the OU website. It's in source number 2. Because why is it that from beginning of Achremos, of course, talks about the Avodas Yom Kippurim. Oh, and now, just by the way, I always say you have to email your parents, WhatsApp them. So you can just say this at the Shabbos table. Those of you who are home, and those of you who are not, still have that obligation of sending it, of sharing it. So the Rabbi Tzion Führer in Hagyona Shel Torah wonders, why is it so extreme that the Kohen Gadol could only go into the Kodesh Kodashim one time a year? So extreme. It's an Isser Kares. So extreme that's in and we can't go in, and only if he does this avoda. Just, okay, it's serious, but never allowed in, once a year only. That's the message. He explains, Judaism is not about going somewhere inside and not focusing on what's outside. We're not a temple religion. We're not about cloistering ourselves in a room and being religious, but then outside doing whatever we want. Judaism is a religion that brings the Kedusha outside. Judaism is a religion that our whole ruchnius has to be mashpia on every part of our lives, all the chutz. And that's why he says beautifully, we don't focus on pnim, on the most inner sanctuary, but that's not what life's about. Life's about chutz. Life's about outside. Life's about sanctifying all parts of our life. And that's why there's such a focus on not going pnim, because that's not what Hashem wants from us. Hashem wants to take all of our special qualities and be mashpia and go out. And why in Yom Kippur is it mutter? Fascinating. Because on Yom Kippur there is no outside. It's all pnim. We don't eat, we don't drink, we're not involved in the world. The whole world is pnim, so there's no difference on Yom Kippur between the Kodesh Kodashim and anywhere else, basically. It's all pnim. That's why he could go in on that day. Because there's no chilek. And then he even adds one final point. The Ramban says that Moshe Rabbeinu really could have gone in whenever he wanted. Only the rest, the Kohanim Gedolim, couldn't go in. But why is that? He explains because Moshe Rabbeinu was always in. Moshe Rabbeinu was always in the zone. He was always panim. Right? He always had to be ready for Nevuah. That's what Miriam and Aaron didn't understand. That was the message at the end of Balotzcha. But Moshe Rabbeinu was like Yom Kippur every day. That was his life. That's why he had to separate from his wife, the only one that had to do that. The goal of life is to not just have the Kedusha inside somewhere, is to take it outside, all parts of our life, all parts of the world. Rav Kook says maybe that's why a shul is supposed to have windows, because it's supposed to radiate out. It's not just supposed to be in the shul. It's supposed to be everywhere in the world. It's supposed to bring sanctity and bring Kedusha. And that's Parshas Kedoshim. Parshas Kedoshim is about focusing and bringing all of that into our lives. There's a lot more Achremos Kedoshim, but feel free to listen and to do your own work. Yeah, Avram.
Who said that Moshe could go in to the Kodesh Kodashim whenever he wanted?
Ramban. Ramban. He quotes the Ramban. What's the Ramban? Where is this Ramban? Yeah, on the beginning of our parsha. Tell Aaron he can't go in whenever he wants, but you can go in whenever you want, Moshe. So Moshe. Yeah, both I have an amazing